Good morning and welcome to a fantastic morning here at Djuma Game Reserve. My name is Marc and I'm about to take you on a live safari through the African bushveld. We're in a part of the Greater Kruger National Park, a very big wildlife area here in South Africa, and we're in a very unusual place to be opening up. We're actually just off of a main road. We were following some lion tracks this morning. We woke up to the sound of lion calling. They must have come across near the waterhole, near Djuma Waterhole or Gowrie Dam, and headed south, and we thought maybe they had crossed south over this road. This road that we're on now is a boundary road for us. We cannot cross it, but the animals certainly can. And just below us in the dip is a dam that we call Twin Dams. This dam is quite a strategic dam actually for animals that are moving north and south, because it is right in the edge of one of the deepest drainage lines, and it's a dry riverbed that we call the Mulwati River. So we found out that there is a lion and a lioness that has been found. So I think the male that must have come down to the south must have met up with this lioness that's moving to the north, and well, who knows, we're going to be going down there to see them very shortly. But first I want to show you something very interesting. The reason why I can't go straight to the lion is because the safari vehicles have been out already for some time, early this morning, and while we were tracking the lion coming to the south, we learned about that we found heading north, not too much far further east. And so there are some vehicles there already. I'm going to check in on the radio, keep in touch on the radio. I'm going to check in on the radio, and I'm going to see if we can maybe get to see them move. And we seem to have lost this effect that they're calling. Listen. At least 3 lion talking right now. But I wanted to show you this in the morning light. See if any of you can guess what it is. It is almost as though it's one living organism, and this is its breath, early morning breath. It also shows you that we are on our way into winter, one of the coldest mornings we're experiencing this morning. Craig, come in. Is Sean there yet, or can I come into that lock? And there goes the radio. The repeater's gone. No, it doesn't. Sorry, Sean didn't copy. Can I come into that sighting, or should I take standby? Copy, thanks. Now, although this is, I'm going to give you a hint. It's a colony of these little creatures that almost have one breath steaming up the morning air. Right, let's go and see these cats. There is nothing with lions late in the afternoon when they're calling. I suppose warning. Hoping that we're going to be able to hear them roar again. Might just do so. Now we're going to sit quietly and see if we can't hear them. Like a cat with catnip, and what there is a lot of probably quite fresh hippo dung. Also a very good sign that she's likely an estrus, and one of the reasons why she has probably called on these males to join her. Can't see the other male yet. Oh, okay, thanks William. William saying he is here, but he's down in the drainage line, which is the dry riverbed just to the east of us. Where's the other one? Yeah. The young one.
Yeah.
The young. Now, her behavior is, well, she's a young lioness, and she's one of two lionesses that are part of the old Styx pride, STYX. And interestingly, this is not the first time we've seen her mating with these boys, and I'm starting to think that maybe she's, we don't know if they are mating yet. We've got to wait and see. But it looks like he's very interested. Why she's rolling like that, I can only speculate. I don't know if she's rolling. Well, it could be that there is also the scent of another cat there. I'm guessing, I'm seeing the hippo dung on the road, and knowing how hippo operate, that he must have sprayed this bush. The male is also scratching a little bit. Now, the bush itself is a piece of young leadwood that has probably been pushed over by elephant, but it's still growing. There's some dead branches there. It's all from a little leadwood tree, and there is no, it's not an aromatic leaf, and I have never seen cats do this with leadwood. So it might have something to do with the dung, and just the fact that cats and dogs and hyena do tend to mask their scent somewhat by rolling in animal dung, vegetarian dung rather. But I don't think that's the entire reason. I think that we probably still have a lot to learn. I can't say that I've ever seen a lioness doing what she's doing right now. And I've been asked the question a few times if cats out here, the big cats, have anything like catnip for domestic cats. And to be honest, I've never really thought so, because I've watched lion extensively over the last 30 years, and to be honest, never really noticed them getting all moggy over a plant. Okay, time to keep quiet now. Something interesting is going to happen. Turn around. She's displaying, and what he was doing, she's also just dripping a little bit of urine, and what he's doing is, I can smell it, very strong, very pungent, almost ammonia kind of a smell. And the fact that he's right behind her also indicates that this is going to probably turn into a mating session. It could be why these males have been going south so frequently. Sorry, I'm going to case that, try and get into a better position. Now, he was grimacing like that. It's not really a grimace. Well, it is a grimace, I suppose you can call it that. But he is essentially inhaling air over a very special organ in the back of his throat. Magnificent male. Left to right, left to right. Where are we going? control. The radio's breaking up a little bit. Please repeat that. Morning, Katrina. Katrina is asking if a lioness, a female lion, if a lion will switch prides or stay with a pride all her life. A little bit of both, really, Katrina, in that most lionesses stay with the pride, but every now and then, my experience, every now and then you'll find that a lioness will raise cubs maybe that are destined for leaving the pride structure and moving on and becoming the core of maybe a new pride. Interesting what he's doing now. Looks like it could be a spot where there was buffalo urine or some urine. I didn't see her urinating there. She's heading back south, and clearly she's not really interested in him. She's not really displaying like a lioness would coming into estrus. He's behaving as though she is. Fleming, that grimace that he was doing is called the Fleming grimace, and that is to access an organ that picks up the female, the estrus pheromones in her scent. I can't tell you what he's doing now. He's rolling in a spot where there is urine. He's licking it for whatever reason. It's very difficult to get into the mind of a cat. I mean, this is a big male lion behaving like a pussycat. Magnificent big male. Oh, and the light on the other side of the water. She's calling now. And a woolly neck stork flying overhead. Now, the call of the female, if you listen carefully, that call of that female, at the end of the call there's a hoo, hoo, hoo. Unfortunately the male hasn't called yet, maybe he will. But the male, at the end of the call, when they do that hoo, hoo, he goes on for a lot longer. She'll only go on for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, but the male can go on for 12, 15 times, making that hoo, hoo, hoo noise. To locate her sister or mother, the other female of the Styx pride. And like a sick puppy dog, he'll follow her everywhere. Round and round the mulberry bush. Okay, go. We're at Tunde. We're just east of the dam. She's walking around in circles and he's following her. Probably gonna go down into the drainage line. Sean, come south. Oh, you there. Okay, can't see him too well. She's growling at him, she's showing displeasure, she's turning her back to him. Also sitting down, doesn't want him smelling, doesn't want him doing anything. She's giving a low growl, and the way she turns away like that is and also the ears were a little bit flat. It's just a signal to him to keep his distance, that she's not interested right now. So I'm guessing that she's probably just coming into estrus. I don't know if there's any record of the mating south of us, where the Styx bride usually spend most of their time. I wouldn't be surprised if she snaps at him or smacks him, because he's invading her space and she clearly doesn't want it. Now, if any men have ever been in a similar situation where you've said something wrong or done something wrong and you get the cold shoulder, that is the cold shoulder in a lioness's life. Perhaps need a little bit of help from viewers in terms of when it was we had the Styx Lionesses mating, and was it the older one or was it this younger one? Unfortunately, I can't remember these things very well in terms of whether it was 2 months ago or 3 months ago. It might be pertinent. Might also be a case of a false estrus or something. Sometimes lionesses keep males in check by a false estrus, as it were, where they won't fall pregnant because they want to make sure that the males are going to be around long enough to keep those cubs. Males ordinarily will fight to protect their progeny, but they can't. There's nothing they can do if they get ousted from a territory. And it's only through time that lionesses can evaluate the males and their strengths and their ability to defend and maintain that territory that they've taken over. But also sometimes they just don't conceive. And even more than that, sometimes sorry, I'm just lost. Yeah, I heard he was down there somewhere in the riverbed or further away. Are you going into the riverbed? The other male lion is just a little bit further up north of us. I guess we ought to be going down onto the sand because that's maybe where they are.
There's a line in the water.
That's the other male. It's gone down to the water. Let's stay here for now. Just like their smaller counterparts, lion and all other cats, when they're licking their They do get a fair amount of water on the tongue, but they also, it's almost like they lick backwards. So they don't really get very much water in with each lick. So it makes it look like they drink a lot. And absolutely fantastic. I can't believe it. We've got perfect conditions with beautiful morning light. I call it lion light because if there is ever a time to get the light in the lion's eyes, it's now. Watch this as he comes through the bush. Wow, right towards us, right behind the car. Okay, it's not a car, but you know what I mean. Now, it'd be interesting to note, we saw them, trying to think, a couple of days ago with very, very full bellies down at Biffles, or rather up at Biffles Hook Dam, up, down, I suppose north of here, so we can say it's up at Biffles Hook Dam. And they, well, this is the smaller of the two males, and he was full, but not nearly as full as his bigger brother or comrade. Abschön. Und da wo ja schön. Yeah. My daughter, I think other my daughter and my Fazi maybe in Mfulet. Okay. Yeah. That one my daughter will be coming out now. Yeah. I'm just gonna go check into my watch, but I'm sure he's coming now. Rather than try and follow him through the bush, I decided to try and come to the boundary. It looked like he was making his way to the edge of the riverbed rather than, but he could just walk in a straight line south. We'll just check in the riverbed quickly, I hope. a bit of luck down here. Floodplain where we've actually, I think we've been with lion and leopard. There he is. To this floodplain. I got visual of the one, my daughter, just below the second dam, or the dam wall, the broken dam wall in Milwaukee. Okay, now I've got them. They're also here on the sand. He's approaching them. Oh, Sean, keep coming down the riverbed. I think everyone's approaching them, my daughter, and fighting out. I just want to get them in as well. Just a shot if we can. Two at the moment. The affirmative best approach probably in the Milwaukee from Gary, Maine. Hoping if we still Mark, I copied that message. Is that Tom? Okay, Tom, not a problem. I do have to put the radar down every now and then. Final control, do you copy? Copy about 1 out of 5. Copied. A question came in about these male lions. What would happen if these male lions ran into a pride with sub-adult males? Well, sorry, the depends clause has to come in here. I'm not sure who that question came from, but if it is their own pride, they'll tolerate the young males up to a point. It is also not really Oh, Lynn in Michigan. Thank you, Final Control. Lynn in Michigan wants to know. Now, Lynn, if it's their own pride, the young males that might be born in their own pride, by the time they start reaching 3 years old, 3 to 3.5 years old, it's going to be necessary for them to move on. And some males tolerate them a little longer than others, but generally speaking, they eventually it gets to be where they've got to move on and go and find their own. You see, look at that. She doesn't want him yet. Gonna call. Looking at the other male, seeing the other male now for the first time, now that he's turned around. Not for the first time, but for the first time since they've arrived here on the sand. He's known that the other male is nearby. Interestingly, the other male played no role in this calling at all. But she's clear, you can see how she's clearly... She's, I guess, playing hard to get. Because she's not giving him a direct no, she's not smacking him away, but she is getting to the point where by turning away from him and folding her ears back a little bit, and this is displacement activity she's doing now, chewing on sticks, which is probably similar to the activity that we were watching earlier in terms of her rolling on that piece of leadwood. It was more displacement than anything else, and a means to do something else other than have to deal with him. Interesting to know which one of the two females this is. I seem to think it's the younger female. Remay wants to know, why did she roar? I love the why questions, because it makes us think, and we can only maybe come to some understanding by asking why. But there are often times when we actually don't know the full reason why things happen. Why did she roar? I believe that she's roaring mostly to call the other female from the Styx Pride. I believe there has been another lioness calling up in the north near Buffelshoek Dam, and there is space for one. Sorry, I do have to talk on the radio every now and then. Whether that lioness or that cat that was calling in the north is responding to this lioness, she's calling, he's just joining in because he's just advertising that if she's calling for other reasons other than being alone and looking for her pride mate, the other reason she could be calling is because she is coming to Eastus and she wants to call and listen for other males. Maybe she's not interested in these males. Another reason why a lioness would call. Another reason why a lioness might call is also it's part of the pride bonding when they call together and to maintain their own territories. She's going to climb up. She's just doing just a stretch and a scratch. Morning, Sid. Good, and you? Good. That's one way to get away from him. Probably going back to the dam now. See you later, Sid. We're going to sit with him a little while. It's just really lovely light on him, and we'll see, because he's possibly going to stand up and go. They seem to have gone back up on towards the dam. I'm going to see what he's going to do now. Let the other two vehicles follow them. Hi Tammy. Tammy wants to know if these are the two full-bellied males we were watching the other morning. Yes, they are. And just remind me, was that 3 days ago? 4 days ago? 2 days ago? It's all a blur. The days. We see so much, and so much happens every day that we sometimes have multiple days all in one day. Especially doing a morning drive and an afternoon drive, sometimes you get the feeling that you've had more than your fair share of fun in one day. Nikki's saying, yes, I think it was Sunday morning. Sure, he's going to come along and start sniffing around where they've been. So it goes to show, I mean, we were asked while we were with them with such full bellies how long it would take to digest all of that. Now, from where he is now, the angle that he was lying, he could see them going up there, but I doubt whether he could see where they went from there. So he's probably going to sniff their trail from that point now, unless he can see them. Let's go and follow him. He's spraying his territory, just making sure, probably looking out for both himself and his brother. Now he's going to have to try and see where they went, because they actually went back up towards the water, which is to the left of us, and he seems to think they've carried on that way. Okay, I'm going to catch up with him. Or do you want him to walk out a shot? Let's get level with him. Wow, what a morning. Another what-if question from Brenda. Brenda's in Virginia. Hi Brenda. I hope you're enjoying this. This might as well be a Sunday morning. What if the female prefers this brother? I think it's too bad, Brenda. The other male, being the dominant male, asserts his dominance. And maybe even that's why she's giving him the cold shoulder, because maybe she'd rather have him in her life right now. And there's not much he can do about it. And maybe that's why, like a puppy, he himself is following them around. But he's just mostly following because he's part of he's part of this coalition of males of the Matimbas, so he won't go far from, well, I guess it's a wrong statement, because they do spend time apart. They do spend time considerable distance apart. But I suppose maybe he's also hanging around because she's going to be in estrus. Maybe the other lioness will come along. Coming back to where they were originally when we first got here. We've done a huge circle around Twin Dams. I don't know where the other two are. I'm going to find out shortly. We'll see how good this lion can track his brother. So do you come in? You still with the other two? Okay, this other my daughter's now heading up Twin Dams, heading north. Yeah, firm. Okay, so I'm guessing that his tracking skills aren't even nearly as good as mine this morning. I think I could track his brother better than him right now, because they're still back at the water. Unless he's just heading back north because there's nothing for him to do here right now. For the time being, going to let other vehicles enjoy the This is exciting stuff, spending time with lions that are active. So many times we see lions, so often we see lions that are asleep, and it's par for the course with African lions. And very, very soon these cats are going to find themselves in some shade. The sun's coming up, starting to warm up nicely. It was perhaps one of the coldest mornings we've had so far. In fact, the second morning that is a very, very clear, pale blue sky, very typical of our dry season and winter months. And I know for a lot of people who are in the northern hemisphere, or maybe even some of you in New Zealand, it can get quite cold down there. But for those of you who do experience real cold, it is sometimes that we are all bundled up. And we're not in winter yet. I've got a few layers on this morning. It's probably only about 15 degrees, maybe a little bit colder down in the dips, because the colder air settles in the dips. But enough of a temperature change that it's the first feel of winter on our doorstep. Apart from the leaves changing and the dry season well underway. But it'll warm up quickly, and we can hit temperatures of 30 degrees Celsius by late morning, noon. So we can consider these two separate locks now. This other, my daughter is now almost at elephant skull. So I've left the lock with my daughter and my Fazi. Not even attempting to follow his brother, not even attempting to find him. He's making his way north. I bet he's going to head up towards Gari Dam, maybe then crossing, going up towards Biffles of Cutline, might even angle off towards Biffles, back towards Biffles Dam. Be interesting if he does maybe link up with the lion that we're calling from the north. which I'm guessing must have been the Nkuhumas. He is sniffing, he is smelling, but I don't think he's smelling to see whether they were walking here. I wonder what that is that's hanging from his mane. Maybe just some nut from a kill. They look soft and cuddly, but I have to be honest, they've got quite a rough fur, but it is also very, very dirty and very smelly, and it does harbour various types of bacteria, some of which can be quite detrimental or debilitating to us humans just by touching wild lion. And times when I've been involved in darting exercises for research purposes or for collaring, I've had to wear gloves because you have to wear latex gloves because you can't get that bacteria on your hands. So let's see what happens when a lion walks through the bushveld, because as you know, we drive these same roads and every now and then there's a kudu or a giraffe or buffalo, and he's on quite a mission. He's bound to walk past some animals. Another spot, but he just paused where a hippo has been spraying the bush with dung. Final control, please repeat. You for information. Wonderful thing about what we are doing and this whole live safari that we do, and if you're joining us and you're fairly new to live safaris, this is just the beauty of do this every day over time and have viewers that are with us over time, because I might not remember dates and things, I can remember that some things did happen, and Tina and Diane both sending in information that the 10th of January this year, which is 3 months ago, just over, which is about the length of time, just beyond the length of time, the gestation period of lion. These two males were seen mating with one of the two lionesses on the Styx. Now, the other thing I would like to get information on is if any of you, I've got photographs of her from now. I think I've got one or two nice. I'll put that up later on the WildEarth page, and we can have a look and try and identify which of the lionesses was being mated with in January. Boom! Flop in the ground. He's going to be rolling in some dung. We'll see what it is. Or rolling in something. Now I need to actually go back to that leadwood where she was rolling and playing, and see if I can smell anything there other than the evident hippo dung. This could be some dried buffalo dung. I wonder. Oh, he's going to start roaring. Didn't go on as long as I was expecting him to. The end of the call, I'm just gonna derobe a bit. Taking layers off as it starts warming up. And it's looking for a reply. Let's stop and listen. Now I thought that perhaps he had decided to just leave his brother. When in doubt, lie down. But it seems that now he's expecting an answer. Because we sort of directly between him and Twin Dam, so we're just going to move off to the side in case he does get an answer. I'm just going to find out from them. Ruan, come in. Are you with us, Ngala? Did they react to this one's calling? No. Okay, we couldn't hear it from here, but evidently at Twin Dam. I'm at Spaghetti Junction now, just before Chelapan. So he did hear them, that's why he stopped and turned around. After his roaring, they started roaring. We didn't hear it, unfortunately. But I think he might have expected that maybe they'd moved further north, and so he has laid down because he knows where they are now. Could be too that he's waiting to hear if the lion in the north are going to be answering. That wasn't a full-blown territorial roar. It was more or less just a communicative contact call. I just had a flutter in my hat. Something was tickling my head, and it turned out there was a moth stuck inside my hat, probably from last night still. What a strange sensation. Getting a head massage from a moth.
I'm getting from flies.
Yes. No shortage of flies. There's the moth. Oh, it's gone. A little bit confused. Now, any of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm sure this must be quite an experience for you, and this is as much as it is for us, because we can never get tired of this. But the beauty about this is, if you are here for the first time, do let us know whereabout you are, where you live on this wonderful planet of ours. And you can do that either by sending an email. Questions at wildearth.tv is the email address, all lowercase, questions at wildearth.tv. Conversely, if you're familiar with Twitter, you can tweet to hashtag Safari Live, hashtag Safari Live, one word. And we'd be great to hear from you, any questions you may have. Quite a unique opportunity to have many people on one vehicle from all over the planet being able to experience this beautiful morning with us. Where are we? Midweek, I think. The only traffic I've had to experience this morning, a lion in the road. They have also, I thought I'd let you know, not far from us, there have been crocodile tracks in the riverbed, and we'll see a little bit later, if we get there, we'll see if we can get to see those crocodile tracks. And that would be the crocodile from Buffelshoek Dam, who has decided to make its way back to wherever it came from, I guess. Came on a walkabout, see what the fishing was like. And most likely, because the dry season is approaching and there are no doubt a lot of dams and a lot of water holes that are drying up, it doesn't surprise me that a crocodile, being familiar with an area, would make its way to various water holes to see whether there is a greater concentration of fish as a result of the water shrinking, evaporating. I think maybe we can leave him be and go back to the male and the female. And I suspect that she's only maybe coming into estrus, and I suspect that maybe at some point she might relent. Normally the female is the one that initiates the mating, and one of the reasons why she is rejecting him is because she's not ready and he's trying to initiate it. So let's leave this boy for a little bit. Hopefully we can catch up with him again, and maybe he won't really go very far. I need to find a feather again to feather flies from my face. Might have to settle for a gory brush. Station's leaving Lock of One Madoden, Gala, Lalapandi on Twin Dams Road at Spaghetti Junction at the dry pan. Marc, wow, that's all I can say. It's absolutely amazing. There are times, and there have been many times in the last couple of weeks, that these two lions have been coming onto Gari early in the morning. We leave them at night. We get excited by leaving camp in the morning, finding their tracks either at Gari Dam or getting word that there had been a lion at Gari Dam maybe an hour before we started drive. There have been times we've followed the tracks with excitement, thinking that coming around the bend, every bend, there's going to be a lion lying in the road, much as he was lying in the road now, and only being disappointed in finding their tracks crossing south. And no doubt now, thinking in retrospect, that they've been traveling down to join up with the Styx Pride to keep track of those females, to see if any sort of getting close to the time that any of them are coming into estrus, and then going back to the Nkahumas back in the north. And I'm sure that that's who's been calling in the north, maybe in response to the roaring that's going on down here. But I'm guessing that it's quite likely that since nothing has been happening with the Styx in the south, they head back to the north of the Nkahumas, because maybe it's better for them to be with a pride of 7 cats to help bring down larger prey than to be spending time with the 2 lionesses of the Styx, because they have a greater chance of there's better hunting with 7 than there is with 2. Having said that, though, I think when they appeared with full bellies, they appeared from the south. Just a speculation on my part, that's all. This is the leadwood that they were rubbing on, and it is just most. I need to move a little bit more because you can't really see the damp. What she was rolling in is very damp grasses. There is hippodung there. There's a lot of hippodung, but there's also a lot of liquid, and I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to. Later when we come back, I'm gonna have to put my nose in it and have a good whiff to try. I obviously don't have the olfactory sense of a cat or a lion, and I obviously don't have any idea what it is my nose is smelling. But who knows? Maybe it's something that next time I see that behavior, I'll recognize. Morning, Starling. Excuse me, Starling. Darling Starling. I'm going to stay there for the camera. Pity he's not sitting in the sun. You can get some of that metallic blue. You're a little quiet this morning with cats in your midst. Bye. Doesn't care about big cats. Starlings not in any danger. Doesn't feel the need to shout out to the world. Let's see what these two are up to. See that? Not up top. So we need to go around and come back to the other side, because I don't think we're going to be able to see this angle. She's quite low down. We might have to wait until they get up, but they're both flat at the moment. So I think what we'll do, try and get to see them from the other side. Might be better. The crocodile did stop here at Twin Dams, but I don't think it's here now. Morning. Marc. Yes. Hi, nice to meet you.
Is it print?
Pardon?
Your cameraman, is that
VM. That's VM.
Are there two teams? Two WildEarth teams?
Yes.
Okay. Just before you came, he was in the road and then he just got it. Moved across.
Is she still being a little bit offish to him? No. We've been back since November, but we were here for many years, up until 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. We did a stint in Thornybush with 3D forming, and now we're back until, well, we'll see, I think the end of May.
Oh, nice. Weren't you with us at that wild dog? When the wild dog attacked that Impala in Buffalo there?
That was probably Peter and Hayden.
Okay.
That was December or late November. Yeah. Was that classic?
Sorry?
I said that was classic. I was.
And then where do you go after May?
Sorry?
Where do you go after May?
Not sure.
Was WildEarth assigned you?
Yes.
Independent?
No, we work with WildEarth. So evidently the other male is coming back here, and she's heard something, so she's sitting up now. And of course, yeah, buffalo maybe. I can hear the oxpeckers coming in, and it's probably the oxpeckers that alerted the cats to some activity. Very interested look on her face. You can see the concentration. Completely different mood to when she's been turning her back on him. think I've got the question from Final Control from Carol in Florida. Will the two males fight over her? Not really, Carol. The bigger male has, on many occasions, we've even seen once or twice, asserted dominance over him, the other male, and the other male, to avoid confrontation and to avoid anything, he acquiesces and he gives this male space. I guess there will be times when they might, and because these two males have this kind of in fact, she's a little bit hesitant at the water, so these cats are somewhat familiar with crocodile presence. Some squirrels are starting to chirp now. I'm not sure where those oxpeckers came from, but there was a small flock of oxpeckers that flew by, and that got her attention. Earlier she was scratching in, this is a sedge grass where she's at now, it's known as cyperus. Not cypress, but cyperus. It's a type of sedge. She's doing now what she was doing earlier, urinating a little bit and scratching with her hind legs. She has glands between her toes, and they do secrete a hormone, perhaps a pheromone. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see if he sniffs that area now and what his facial expression will be. I can see the other male approaching. He's coming back from the northern end of the dam, but let's watch this one for now. I can't see it very well, but he is doing the phlegm and grimace. He is accessing his Jacobson's organ with her scent, licking the grasses where she's been rubbing. There we go. Beautiful. It looks like a snarl, but it's there's no aggression in that expression whatsoever. And the other male, seeing the two of them now, has now flopped down on the other side of the dam. So you see, even though I was trying to interpret his actions, I got it all wrong. You never know with animals. You can't predict, or you can't explain, you don't know what's going on inside their head, so it's wonderful to be able to spend this time with them and to be able to, in retrospect, understand their behavior rather than to try and explain it while it is happening. But it's one of the reasons why we try and spend time with them, for observation and learning and understanding, because it's only through that we learn anything. But it is always a one-off thing. What we observe today might not be the same for any other circumstance of similar activity. not so warm that they need to seek shade right now. Still a little bit of a cool breeze, especially down here close to the water. And if anything, maybe seeking a little bit of the sun's warmth, as opposed to maybe a month ago where by now it would be getting very hot and they would be in the shade already. Morning Blair, although it's actually afternoon probably for Blair in New Zealand. Hi Blair, great to hear from you again. Asking if this is the first time the Styx Lioness has been on Djuma. Not at all, Blair. The Styx Pride was a very, very regular pride visiting pride, or rather they regularly visited Djuma in the earlier days of WildEarth, and it was obviously a lot bigger than it is now. The pride itself, and I remember a few months ago, we had, when I first arrived, actually at the beginning of December, when Peter and Hayden were here, we had the two lionesses chasing giraffe up on cheetah cut line, or half-heartedly chasing giraffe. They weren't really making a very concerted effort to catch one. And in the interim they have crossed over occasionally. Most recently there was some excitement. I was on leave at the time, probably last week sometime. Some great excitement when there was a couple of leopard here. The two lionesses chased a leopard up a tree here at Twin Dams. I think they had a giraffe kill, if I'm not mistaken, and there was some elephant involved. It was one of those extremely exciting days. Well, it's possible that today can turn into a little bit of excitement, because there are regular visitors to this waterhole during the day, including a couple of buffalo bulls that are probably somewhere out in the bush at the moment and making their way down here, expecting to wallow in the mud all day, and probably not expecting to find it occupied by cats. However, animals are very perceptive, and I'm pretty sure that any buffalo that might have had ideas on Twin Dams this morning have probably heard all the roaring, and are probably not going to be coming down here. Who knows? It's a wait and see game. Let's see. They are just behind the damn wall. They haven't moved far, just behind the trees, behind the middle there. To stop cars driving. Or there's an elephant that I wonder. Lying in the shade. Oh, it's getting too hot for them. Oh look, we have lion tracks. Lion tracks.
59 and 80.
Just a little gap through the leadwoods, these baby leadwoods. for now. And we'll see if... See, now I can hear the starling alarming now. Well, not the same one we saw, but it's the same species. It could be the same individual. So you can see his posture, how he has lifted his head a little bit, because that starling started alarming now. Very harsh call compared to its very melodious usual call. Actually, it can't be the same one. It's a slightly different direction. I can hear a squirrel alarming too. And the distant thud of helicopter rotor blades. You might have heard that. Way to the east. Could probably see them better if I were closer to the dam wall, and I could probably get around there, but you see, if I was there and they move, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere. But also I think it would be a little bit too intimidating being right above them. I'm keen to see, I'm staying here for a while, I'm keen to see if the status is going to, if her mood is going to change, if she's going to suddenly change from being somewhat rejecting of his advances to actually flirting and initiating some mating. Interestingly, the squirrel that is calling and the starling that we're calling, I'm not that they're in a different area. I doubt whether they can see these cats. Go ahead. Oh, interesting. Vicky. Morning, Vicky. Did she get kicked out of her pride? No. Not really. Lionesses aren't really in the habit of getting kicked out of prides, Vicky. She would have... At the moment, as far as I know, the pride is only the 2 lionesses. Hoping that some of this mating that we've been seeing is going to result in something. Oh, there we go, with an answer to things. Very interesting. Unfortunately, it happened behind the bushes for us, but I can explain to you what happened. The 2 of them came to lie down just behind the dam wall, and the brother, knowing now that they are here, he's on the dam. He's going to come around this side. He couldn't see them, and so he thought they might have headed further south. Now, he's been very good about keeping his distance up until now, and I was asked not many minutes ago whether they would fight. And of course what happened is that he poked his head above the dam wall, and it was just too close for comfort for this bigger male, who actually chased him off. In fact, both of the cats kind of got aggressive with him and made him keep his distance. I think that's all it really takes. But you see, And now he's growling, the old man. He's lifting. He's doing the Elvis growl. This old man does sort of lifts the one lip and he's just twitching his upper lip, and there's a low growl emanating from him, just to keep the other one away. I don't think the other one had any intention of interfering. He just didn't realize they were so close, and he poked his head up the wall, over the wall. But interesting, very interesting. When we were down in the riverbed, and we had been following the second male, and we went down and around into the riverbed, and we found him again, and then we saw the couple that was sleeping on the sand. There was a moment when she got up and she started doing her playful thing on the tree, that the male stood up, and then he suddenly noticed the brother sitting nearby. But the distance was enough that all he had to do was just look at him with daggers, and he knew from that distance that there wouldn't be any confrontation or any need for more than just a glare. And obviously the closer the other male gets, the more aggressive this male will get to keep him away. And being the submissive male, being a smaller male is constantly being dominated by this male, he's not going to try his luck. Interesting thing is that you will find that if there isn't a female in estrus, or if there isn't a female around, they'll lie together, they'll sleep together, they'll lie, as we've seen, with one with his paw on the other one's flank, or touching even. And actually being quite emotional with each other, because they are close, but it's now that this male doesn't want any contact with his brother. He's only got eyes for her, and there's a very good chance, and I hope that they're going to be here at Djuma for the next few days, because they'll probably be alternating between here and Baboon Pan, just south of us, and with a little bit of luck heading further north, but not really likely, because the Styx are more a southern pride, and so it's most likely that they're gonna, I hope, stay around here, and we'll be able to see, and even if we can't see, maybe we'll be able to follow it through the information we get from other guides about how this is progressing, how long it's going to take, because I would imagine, my guess is, and unless it started yesterday, my guess is that this is all something that was initiated this morning. We had tracks of the males coming south, and while following them and expecting that maybe we had lost them, that maybe they had already crossed over into the south, we were lucky enough just before opening on drive to find out that the males had hooked up with this female from the Styx, and they were in fact still on Djuma property. Questions that have been asked in the past amongst the viewers have been, how long does the estrus last? Do both males mate with the female? How long does each male mate with her? There are bunches of questions that really can't be answered until we get the chance to observe them doing so, and here is the perfect opportunity. He didn't realize that they were so close when he popped his head over the wall. Can you get through here, Tom?
I'm going to have a quick look at them again.
Sure. Sorry. I was talking to you and all the viewers.
And it's fun. Fun. You know how they do that, as if they're sitting in your hand or under your hand. So I had it, that's fine. Gotten away. Fun.
I'm sorry we lost you there for a minute, but I just slightly repositioned the vehicle and hopefully everything is fine now. Had a very interesting question from Marina, wanting to know if they were to make a kill now, would they share it with the other brother? By the way, the other male, his name is Ginger. I don't know who he is. There has been a dominant male in the coalition of males of the Matimbas that was called Induna. But I can't be sure whether this is the male that we call Induna. And based on his behavior towards Ginger, the smaller male, that I think if there was to be a kill now, they would still make him keep his distance. So I think it's quite possible that whether it's just in the social situation or whether it is on a kill, they would still be quite aggressive towards him, unfortunately. And he would have to wait then until they were fed and moved off of the kill for him to come in and feed. The go-away birds are now starting to alarm. You can hear that. When they get a little bit more intense or a little bit more insistent, it sounds like go away. It goes, go away. But for now it's just a way. That alone is enough to keep the likes of the buffalo away from the dam. He lifted his head because the francolin ran past. Fortunately the francolin didn't alarm. I don't even think the francolin or the spurfowl even saw the lion. Very attentive. He's listening. I mean, with all the vehicles and all the other noise that there might be around, he's going to tune that out. His brain will tune all the other noise out, and he might hear a twig crack. He's listening, no doubt, to the sound of these alarming birds. Possibly, there was another francolin on the dam wall. That's what it was. And now you can see how he relaxes that attitude. You can almost see the expression change when they are concentrating on something, when they're listening to something. Of course, when they're watching something, that's very, very easy to see. Excuse me a second. Marc, go ahead. Yeah, you're welcome, Ryan. Where about you now? Okay, copied. You should get me visual with my daughter and my Fazi. The other my daughter is on the other side of the wall at the Mati. This is a limited view of these two. Almost like only one vehicle can see. So I'm going to go around and see what the other male is up to and see if we can see what the go-away birds are shouting at, if it is in fact the lion. And I'm going to let another vehicle come and view these two with their guests. Right behind the wall, damn wall, so maybe go around the side rather than come over and almost be on top of them. Yep, there he is, so maybe we don't even have to go too far. Find himself a spot in the shade. Copy that, thanks Ron. I'm just going to sit here for a bit because I can, if the other two move, I'll be able to see them as well. I'm guessing that all the alarming is due to the lion being here. And at the moment it doesn't really affect the lion very much at all, because with the other two preoccupied with that goings on, he's not going to really get much interested in hunting on his own. And I don't think, unless the opportunity arose for them to really be sure about making a kill, if for instance buffalo came down and they were managed to surprise it, I think that most likely, even though they're both looking a little bit skinny, not skinny, wrong word, their tummies look a little bit empty. They're not by no means skinny lion. They are most certainly very large and very healthy lion, and she's in immaculate condition. Well, she's a really healthy lioness. So I don't think they're in that much need of a kill right now. I'm sure they could eat though. Copy that, was thinking the same thing. In the last 15 to 20 minutes, the temperature has risen considerably. I'm fairly confident that there's not really much going to be happening in terms of where they go. They're going to most likely be around here for the rest of the day, for most of the rest of the day. I think, if anything, there might be the odd interaction between that male and the female as the day wears on, whether it be in the shade. I think what might happen is, if he falls asleep, she might try and get up and sneak off, and he'll maybe hear her getting up and maybe then follow her. So I'm thinking, and I'm hoping you all agree with me, but I'm thinking that what we can do is, I'm hoping to come back here this afternoon. Hopefully we can follow up on what we've been seeing this morning. At the moment it seems to be sort of a static situation. They're lying down, they're sleeping, and we haven't really done much this morning. So I wonder if we shouldn't maybe just spend another bit of time driving around. We'll go to maybe another waterhole or two. We'll see if we can find some birds and of course some other larger mammals, and I hope that maybe we can fill up the morning with some other things. So we're going to just go around and have one more look at him from a different angle, and maybe just a couple more minutes, and then I think we'll go and see what else Djuma can find, or other Djuma can offer us on this really beautiful Wednesday morning here in the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa. Millions and millions of acres of wildlife, and we happen to find some of the most exciting things that it has to offer. Hopefully more exciting things on offer up there. So I'm going to sit for a little bit, just for a few minutes in the shade, and we'll see if anything else changes. So before you zoom, move a little bit forward so that this other vehicle can get closer, get in as well, and share the sighting. Must be coming back this way.
They've been running east the whole morning. We were on Elephant Plains and Sibambili, but the general direction is the east over.
Okay. So likely to come back onto Gary Main maybe.
I'm hoping they decide to get our waterhole and have a siesta. But probably.
There's still a ways to go. I think let's leave some guests to enjoy this in peace. while we're heading off, I can address another question that's come in. Hello. Question came in. Was it Angela? I think. No, it was Brandy. Sorry, Brandy. Because Brandy was asking about the dominance of the two. Which one is the more dominant than the other? I'm not too sure which one they call Ginger, actually, Brandy. I've got some interesting news too that's just coming over the radio. I'll get to that in a second. Just answer Brandy's question first. Brandy wanted to know, well, was saying that she thought that the other male, or rather this male that we were with now, this one, was the dominant of the two because we saw him engaging in dominant behavior the other day. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look at photos or see. I don't know if I took any photos of the other day when we arrived at Buffelshoek Dam, when we found him at Buffelshoek Dam the other day. As we arrived, we had the one male covering the other male in almost a sexual manner, although it wasn't necessarily a sexual act. It was more a case of asserting dominance. Now, the key is there. Which of the males was doing that? Now, let's not talk about names, because I think names can get confusing. I'm not even sure myself which of these two is Ginger. And so let's forget about names. Let's talk about the big one and the smaller one, because there is a slightly different size to the two of them, and there was most certainly on Sunday morning a marked difference in size. That's marked with a K, not marked with a C. But there was a marked difference in size because the larger of the males had a much bigger belly. The smaller male is the one who has the injury to his paw. He's had that injury on his paw. It's been like a wound that he obviously worries it from time to time. He probably lies down and he licks it, and I'm sure the flies bother it a lot. So if somebody can maybe let me know, if somebody has any idea whether which of the one that was asserting dominance on Sunday, unless Brandy, you're talking about an incident that might have occurred some other time. Excuse me, I need to just talk on the radio. Right. Stations, I'm leaving the lock of Ngala Twin Dams, leaving Ryan on lock. Space for two. Now the other news, and I'm just listening again on the radio, when I go quiet like that all of a sudden is usually because I'm hearing the other vehicles, the safari vehicles on the safari radio giving an update to what's going on. And some other wonderful news is that the wild dog that we followed west the other morning with all of that activity, I mean, we've had some really fantastic mornings the last few mornings. The wild dog that moved so far west the other morning have been steadily heading east. Here lion tracks on this road, so this is where they must have split up. They must have come off of quarantine and now they split up. Well, not now, but they must have split up. The one male came down here, the other male went onto Gari Main, and then they joined up again. That's when we heard them calling. Sorry, I interrupted myself. Quite a common occurrence actually. But the wild dog have been steadily heading east. pretty much the same path that they went west a few days ago. Unfortunately, they're still a little bit further west of Arethusa, and they are heading east. They might head to Arethusa Waterhole. We are heading west, and hopefully there might be some coinciding, some place where our paths collide if they are going to continue. Unfortunately, we've got time and temperature against us, in that it's reaching a point in the morning where it's starting to get warm, and the dogs, having evidently been on the run and been on the move for most of the morning already, are probably going to be getting hot and tired. And when they get to Arethusa Dam, if they haven't been there already, it'd be nice to know, any of the viewers who might be viewing Arethusa, the webcam, or rather the camera at Arethusa, to immediately let us know when the dogs get there. If we have time, maybe we'll try and get over there. It's a race against time at the moment, because the dogs are heading east. It's starting to get warm. They've got this big dam with a lot of shade and a lot of space to lie around. There's going to be animals around the dam if they want to go hunting later. So it's a very good chance that they might end up stopping somewhere around the dam and hopefully spending some time there in the shade. But good news in that there's a good chance that later on in the day they might continue running east, which will bring them, with a little bit of luck, bring them onto Juno. That would be super. So let's head west a little bit, and when I get closer to Arethusa, I can find out from the guys on Arethusa where these dogs are. In the interim, we're going to stop off at Treehouse Dam. What's interesting around Treehouse Dam is, for months now, we've been observing a bachelor herd of impala that live around this area between, I'd say, Gowrie Main, Treehouse Dam, Philemon's Cutline. These impala rams have been in a bachelor herd and have been pretty amicable towards each other. They do, even in the bachelor herd, they do keep their personal space, and they have a hierarchy right throughout the year that is occasionally challenged, but it is only now that they're starting to get into the rut that real challenges take place. And some of the older rams from the bachelor herd will be breaking away and will be establishing their lecks, their territories, their rutting spots, where they will have a dust bowl and a midden where they will defecate, and they will try their best to herd a group of females and maintain a harem of females within that area throughout the mating season, which is going to last for the next month and a half. And so it'd be interesting if we can find this bachelor herd of impala and see if we can see some of the beginnings of the impala rutting season starting to happen. Males chasing each other around. I believe Steph and Scott witnessed some of that yesterday. Or was it you?
No, I wasn't on it.
Another thing that unfortunately I was on leave, and I'm not sure when it happened, because at home it was somewhere just after about the 3rd of April when suddenly the woodlands kingfishers were gone, and it was quite a common thing this time of the day to come to Treehouse Dam and to see the woodlands kingfishers having their daily bath, where they'd be sitting in one of the trees on the edge and flopping into the water, splashing into the water and flying back into the tree to shake it off and to preen. And if there was ever something conspicuous by its absence, it's the woodlands kingfishers now, and we're going to have to wait until about the first week in November before we see them again. Having lost the woodlands kingfishers, their rivals, the brown-hooded kingfishers, are starting to become more prominent. They seem to take a little bit of a back seat when their migratory cousins arrive from Central Africa, and so we don't see them as much as we do, or we're going to, moving into the dry season. Starling behind us, making a lovely song. Other than that, I'm going to take a quick scan with my binoculars and see what I can find around the water or in the distance in the... So I want to see if I can see the flick of an impala tail off in the bush. I'm not even seeing the usual waders that we find around the edges of the water, the three-banded plovers, the thickneys, the water thickneys, and the occasional wood sandpiper. What I am seeing though is an accumulation of algae that is starting to develop. And of course, depending on which way the wind is blowing, that determines which side of the water the algae starts accumulating. Can reach a point where the entire surface of the dam becomes just this algae-filled pond, and in some cases can actually turn toxic. Okay, thank you Final Control, mentioning that the few of you viewers have sent in some pictures. Thank you very much for doing so, sending in some pictures of the Styx Pride. That's wonderful to have that, thank you very much. I'm not sure, while I'm stopped here quickly, I'm not sure if we can get that on camera, but I've often been asked, when we are at, can you see the edge of the water there? Was the gunnel too, no, a little bit too close. The plant that's growing, the greenery, is a little bit stretching out into the water. It's a plant known as Ludwigia, and it's a very prominent plant in the water at Arathusa Lodge. There's a little bit of it at Djuma Dam. There's some now. You can see as the water recedes, the plant is left high and dry, and it is pretty much water dependent. For those plants that have still got tendrils and arms into the water, they're still doing okay, but slowly but surely, as the water recedes, the plant dies off until the water comes back again in the next wet season. We have, for some unknown reasons, possibly because of the buffalo activity that we have at this dam, being a very small dam and occasionally having up to even 20 buffalo, they probably trample it, and their activity prevents this Ludwigia from spreading as much as it has in a place like Arathusa Dam. And despite the activity at Arathusa Dam, there are a lot of hippo there, and no doubt buffalo and elephant that also utilize it because it's a very deep water, it's cleaner water. Despite all of that activity, somehow there still seems to be an excessive amount of the Ludwigia, but it will probably be dying off as the dry season wears on. It's an interesting plant. I'm not too sure if it is related to the bladderwort, but it has a very similar physiology in that roots of the plant are aquatic roots that have these swellings with air bubbles in them in the plant cells, and they create floats, and that's what allows the plant to float. And I guess very similar to the plant known as bladderwort. Maybe I need to do a little bit of research into that myself. Any Western Station copy? A unit track. Something moving there at the base of that tree. Now we're going to take Gary Main. No, where these impala are, normally there's some of them around. Also, the same bachelor herd that used to have that one ram that had one horn. And what's going to be very interesting in the rutting season is to see how he fares. And unfortunately, in the next couple of weeks, still here for the next couple of weeks, so we are hopefully going to be able to witness some of the rutting behavior of these impala, and it'll be very interesting to see how he does manage to compete with only one horn. Like a boxer fighting with his one hand tied behind his back. Old lion tracks where these males came back to the north, probably yesterday. warthog running away. I saw it before you, Ben.
Yeah.
There he is, coming closer to the road, running parallel with us. Stop. Oh, a magnificent warthog. Wow, he's huge. He, she. Must check. Normally it's easy to tell with the curve of the tusk, but this warthog is a little bit different. A big male. Oh, when he goes away. Stop, Mr. Warthog. Look at that. His tusks are like... Man, what a warthog. You're not likely to see a bigger warthog than that. And a warthog of that size is about to cross the road again. Right ahead of us. I don't want to chase him. I don't want to give him the impression that I'm chasing him. I want to get here where the road extends ahead of us, if he hasn't crossed already. Getting very dense here, so he might have stopped. Running and I couldn't see him. There he is, straight ahead of us. Still going to come out onto the road. We can just trotting. He's not exactly running away. He's trotting. I think he's still is affected a little bit by our presence. The warthog here, no matter how habituated and how relaxed most of the animals get, for some reason the warthog are all usually very nervous, unless they are warthog that are closer to the lodges, that spend time on the lawns of the lodges. They get accustomed to people, but out in the bush the warthog tend to be a little bit nervous. Not being pig family, they are extremely intelligent, so one would think that they would learn that we are not a threat to them. We're not here to hurt them. I don't know where he's gone now. Might have gone back to a burrow, and there's a big termite mound off to the left. Well, he lives around here. I wonder if he's not maybe the same warthog we've seen. There's a termite mound with a warthog burrow. We're on Spam Road now. We're coming up to a junction that leads back down to Treehouse Dam, so we're almost in a triangle. And we've quite often, when I've come to Treehouse Dam in the early mornings, we come around the bend where that termite mound is, and the warthog just bursts out of the termite mound and runs away. It could be the same warthog, and it could be that he lives there, so I'm hoping maybe we'll get to see him again. I think we've got a fairly good shot of him now. Yeah. Even if most of it was running away. Of exceptionally large termite mounds, and there are no doubt several of them that house warthogs, and no doubt most of the females within this immediate area would be his females and his families that they are raising. Being of such a big warthog would be quite dominant over any others. Here's an impala. I can see an impala. This might be one of the rams, so they might be here on Philemon's cut line now. Yes, very thick bush though, can't get to see him just yet. Let me come around this way. Let's see, it's getting warm, so a lot of the impala are going to be off of the open areas and into the thicker woodland area. That ram there is on his own. He is no doubt part of this bachelor herd, but maybe he's already starting to separate himself from the rest. A lot of the young impala that are in the bachelor herd will have to stay within the bachelor herd because they're too young to rut. They are constantly being pushed around by the older rams. They don't have a chance at all of maintaining their own little territory for the rut. All they can do is fit in with the hierarchy of the older rams. Let's move deeper in now. We're going to have to come back this way when we come back to the end of the drive. Maybe we'll see others. I want to head a little bit further west and catch up on the news of those wild dogs. Other things that live in these very large termite mounds. This is a very particular area where there are some fairly large ones. There's another area on the other side of Zoe's Road, and a lot of it has got to do with the soil type and the age of these termite mounds. A lot of them have a whole host of creatures living in them, and I've noticed on these big ones fairly secretive reptiles, plated lizards. But after a cold morning this morning, I would hope that some of them might be in the sun, and unfortunately they're very sensitive to, they tend to run away and hide, they dive down their burrows. Hopefully if I can approach slowly, maybe we get to see one. If we're lucky. There have been a few snake tracks in the roads of late, and my guess is that a lot of snakes are finding their way around before the cold weather comes, trying to catch those last frogs hopping around, or capitalize on the explosion of, well, it's not really an explosion, but at the end of summer there is always a large rodent population, and since they're not very long-lived individuals, I'm not too sure the lifespan of these rodents, some of them only a year, maybe 2 years. Anyways, at the end of summer find snakes out trying to catch those last few meals for the dry season. They don't hibernate per se, they do become dormant, they do become less active. We do have very warm days during the dry season or during our winter. That does allow some reptile activity. I mean, there are always lizards and geckos around, and at home even the frogs that I have living around my house at night will come out, the toads and frogs will come out and they'll go and hydrate themselves at my bird bath. Well, it's not my bird bath, it's the bird's bird bath, the one I put out for them. Got a couple of rocks and things that I put out for the birds, fill them with water, and have some amazing times just sitting with birds. So I'm looking at each of these termite mounds, hoping that I'm going to find something on them. Once we're over this ridge, I should pick up the radio from Arathusa and maybe get some news on what's happened to those canines, those canids, canine cousins. Interesting, Marco. Hi there, Marco. Marco's in New Jersey. Nice to hear from you again, Marco. I don't know if you heard, but we had black-collared barbets calling when we were with the line, but I couldn't see them. Marco was asking about these ponds, the dams, wanting to know if the ranger, the guides help to maintain them, particularly the plant life, if the plant life gets a little bit too excessive. Sometimes yes. And also depending on the plant, because sometimes you can get an alien plant coming in. But generally, no. Generally, there's not really much you can do. I mean, when you take a look at the waterhole at Arethusa, I'm not too sure if aren't coming in. But generally, no. Generally, there's not really much you can do. I mean, when you take a look at the